Alright, take two, action. And by that, I mean, yeah, I made a mistake. This is the second time I'm recording this video. Messy rants. Uh, Today, we're looking at, uh, the best discussion to ever hit my timeline. Kaba from Super versus Gogeta, Super Saiyan 4 from GT. We're talking about Dragon Ball, baby! Um, um, So I just explained all this for like a 30-minute video that I messed up. I didn't write anything down, obviously, it's a messy rant. I don't make scripts. I don't make scripts in general, but I really don't make scripts for this. um, so I'm gonna try going about it like this. I'm gonna try making it a little simpler this time. Maybe put it down to 25 minutes. Um, I want to start off with figuring out how strong Gogeta is. We're gonna go I'm not bringing up any evidence for this, by the way, just opinions and things I remember that I think I remember correctly. I am a casual fan that has seen a lot of GT, a lot of Super, all of Z, and read the manga for Z. I actually did do that, or for the Z portion. I have done that, and watched Kai as well and stuff. Like I've absorbed a decent bit of Dragon Ball. I think I can talk a little bit about it. So we're gonna figure out how strong, as a rough idea for Gogeta first. I'm gonna be very controversial here about how strong I think the fusion is, or the fusion dance in terms of how strong it makes the fighter. It's gonna go crazy. But first things first, figuring out end of Z Goku is very simple. Not really. This is like an approximation. We see Oob. Oob is reincarnated Kid Buu, same strength, ideally, especially when he like locks in for that 1 second. Hits Goku. Goku blocks it with his arm. It hurts him a lot. If we equate that to Super Saiyan 3, or to not Super Saiyan 3, but to Kid Buu's strength, base Goku is like the same strength as like Super Saiyan 3 Goku in Buu Saga, in that case, at the end of Z. And I say end of Z in mind so that we can figure out GT's end, because I'm going to say that Kid Goku, when he becomes a child, is a little weaker than what he would be not as a child. That's the whole point of making him into a child, to make him weaker. Um, but I'm gonna say maybe like he's like maybe half as strong or something. I don't. I think he is much more in line with like actually with that power scaling of the ending, even though it's hard to really say how strong they are because they're working with a bunch of new enemies and stuff. But like at the same time, we see like when hell is breaking loose on Earth, and like we see like Goku trapped in hell. He's fighting Cell and Frieza in base form and doesn't like care at all as the child form. So it's just like, kind of tells you a little bit that he doesn't even need to go Super Saiyan to beat both of them in that instance. So it's just like, so there's that. So I'm just willing to accept that like the Kid Goku's like maybe like half as strong as he would be usually, maybe. We're gonna go half to be, I'm gonna say generous. Like I can't really say like a proper amount of how much stronger or weaker he would be, or how much weaker he would become from it, but I would say like half to be generous. Um, in that respect, uh, we have a general idea of how we used to calculate it for how strong Super Saiyan 4 would be. Uh, because Super Saiyan's like 50 times stronger than base form. Super Saiyan's 2 is like usually calculated like 2 times as strong. 3 is 4 times as strong, and then 4 is 10 times as strong. So if we factor all that in, that's 50, 100, 400, 4,000 times stronger than base form. That's how much stronger Super Saiyan 4 is from the base form. And now that means we'll take a little break from this part and go to Kappa real quick. Because I guess in this thread somewhere, someone points out in the manga, Vegeta says, "Oh, he's on par with Kappa. Kappa base form is the same as Vegeta base form." Um, cool. Um, just want to point that out real quick. I think that's kind of funny. Not really funny, just like a good point of measuring. But going back to GT, this Vegeta in GT, in that case, is kind of a bit weaker than we would expect Vegeta to be. Because he's half as strong as Goku in that case, at minimum, depending on how much weaker kid Goku is. Because it's just like, even though he gets access to Super Saiyan 4, that doesn't change the fact that he's still a kid when not in Super Saiyan 4. Thus, kind of making it seem like Vegeta did not keep up on things after the end of Z, which is very disappointing, but that's a whole different issue. Uh, what is a whole different issue is the fact that that means that once they fuse together, we have to then figure out how much stronger they are with the multiplier. But like currently, it's 4 times stronger than base, but then we had to cut it in half, so it's like 2,000 times stronger than end of Z Goku. We'll say that 2,000 times. And to figure out how much stronger the fusion dance would make you to get to Gogeta, I'm gonna go back to Buzaga, talk about Trunks and Goten, how those two can go Super Saiyan, and both of them together can take on 18. I think that's like a rough estimate to how strong Super Saiyan was probably for like Cell Saga, or not Cell Saga, but like the beginning of the Android arc, to where that was like the strength they're at is probably the same as the strength that, or the strength that Goten and Trunks are is probably the same as the strength that Vegeta and Piccolo and Goku were at that point, because they were all Super Saiyan, or Piccolo being really strong. Um, and then they have their fusion dance together to get into Gotenks, and they can go Super Saiyan 3, which becomes stronger than Super Buu, right? Um, I think with that in mind, we can probably figure out that how much stronger they become is not hard to do, just because it's like I'll say the kids are definitely stronger than Super Buu, probably by a little bit. There's no real like easy way to confirm that from my memory, and I had to look around for like numbers if they're even still keeping track of numbers. I'm pretty sure they stopped even posting numbers after the cell arc. I think that was the last time they posted any numbers whatsoever. But anyways, for power level, which is dumb anyways, but whatever. Um, with that in mind, though, you can kind of go from there that, oh, in that case, it's like they might have gotten like 3, 4 times, maybe even at most 5 times stronger from the fusion dance. Like not a lot stronger, because Super Buu gets stronger than Majin Buu, which Majin Buu was weaker than Goku, but probably only by like a little bit. Like probably like Goku could have killed Majin Buu, but Super Buu, I don't think Super Saiyan 3 Goku could handle. The kids would have had to handle that, or Gohan later as Ultimate Gohan. And in that instance, sure. Um, we'll say like Fusion as to be generous. We'll say like 5 times stronger. So if we say 5 times stronger for the fusion dance, that means we go right on over to GT and then multiply that 2,000 times multiplier by 5. Make it 10,000 times stronger than end of Z Goku. And now we're going to translate end of Z Goku to a comparable base form for Super Goku. I think it's very easy. I think just I'll be real. I haven't seen the actual Super episodes of Battle of Gods or Resurrection F. But I obviously have seen the movies. Um, and I don't think there was too many differences outside the Beerus line where he's like, "Oh, I actually use like a lot of my power in that fight." When no, that's just not true. That's not even remotely possible. Whatever. We don't care about that right now. We don't care that information's bad from movie. Whatever. Who cares? What matters is that Goku at some point powers down to base form during that fight. Like he loses the God Key for a second, but his base form skyrocketed to where he's actually still like throwing punches, not as effectively as he was in Super Saiyan God form, but he's actually fighting a bit. Like he's still like not out of this fight. So that means he's at least stronger than Super Saiyan 3 from Buu Saga in that case as well, because we literally see Super Saiyan 3 in that movie, and I even know even came up in the show as well that like Super Saiyan 3 does actually nothing at all to Beerus. Like Beerus does not even entertain it. He just smacks him immediately. Or it was like, oh, I was about to kill you. You had good instincts or whatever to dodge that in that one instance of like foreshadowing Ultra Instinct, probably. I don't know, who cares? Um so with that in mind, that's a big power up. I imagine the base form for Goku and in turn Vegeta, because Vegeta and Goku are very much linked into how strong they are usually, especially in Super. They're very much neck and neck at all times for the most part. Um, so with that in mind, I'll say they probably got stronger by the time they fought Universe 6 and Vegeta fought Kaba in the ring. And that's where the whole like line in the manga says like, oh, him and Kaba are at the same strength. So I'll say probably at minimum, like I'll give it a range of like 2 to upwards of 10 times stronger by that point in their base forms, because they actually get more used to how it feels with God Key and stuff, so they're like much more proficient in fighting by that point. Um, so with that in mind, Kaba would be 10 times stronger than that resurrect or that Battle of Gods Goku base form there. We'll give him a little extra buff here. With that said, if we make it, or if we assume that Battle of God base form Goku after the ridiculous boost of energy from the God form is the same as End of Z, even though I think End of or Battle of Gods makes him even stronger than that by a lot, because Super Saiyan 3 does actually nothing to where his base form is doing a lot, um, significantly more. But regardless, if we go off of that, if they're like roughly the same, even if we give Kaba 10 times stronger, I think we got to like 10,000 times stronger than base form with Gogeta. Again, that's being generous of giving it 5 times multiplier and only halving uh, GT Goku. strength. Like, we're still giving him a lot of the benefit of the doubt in a show where he does not train whatsoever. He does not train at all in GT. Like, he is too busy doing 1 million things to ever get to that point where he could be training. Too much is going on, so no training happens. Too much of the journey is happening. So that means that, like, Gogeta's 1,000 times stronger than Kappa. But, there's a but, Kappa can go Super Saiyan, which lowers that down from being 1,000 times stronger to just 20. Um, and I'll even be like crazy to say this. I don't remember if Kappa can become Super Saiyan 2, but if he does turn Super Saiyan 2 at any point, that's cool. One, but two, that's another that lowers it to only 10 times stronger, which is still kind of getting hard pounded into the dirt by Gogeta at that point, because it's not like being a tenth of the strength is not enough ever. Unless Frieza is playing around with you, then sure. But otherwise, it's like, no, you're gonna die because of that. But that said, that said, um, there's actually a significant amount of time between Torment and Power and that fight with Universe 6. I could see Kaba getting like at least twice as strong, if not even upwards of 3 or 4 times as strong. So now that 10 times multiplier can go up to maybe from 5 times stronger to maybe barely like 2.5 times stronger. Which means Kaba can probably give like a pretty reasonable fight to the strongest character from GT. That is being generous to both of them though. Like I said, I don't know how much weaker Goku becomes by becoming a child. He could be way weaker than what I'm giving him. He could like fall off the face of the planet kind of weaker. He could be like, if he's 10 times weaker, then Kaba wins the fight, just straight up. If he's 5 times weaker, Kaba's is like a 50-50. And then vice versa, I gave Kaba like a potential 10 times stronger than that Z or than that Battle Gods moment that Goku has, which I think is not like crazy off. Like I would imagine Kaba is actually significantly stronger than that moment in Battle of Gods slash at the beginning of Super. Like I would just be it'd be crazy if he wasn't stronger than that base form on Goku. Because Goku then trains with Whis and becomes way stronger for like what? Like at least a year or something. It's like there's like actual amount of training that Whis has done at that point with them. That's been at least like a decent few months to a year. I could see them getting a decent bit stronger. So like the gap between them, Gogeta is definitely the higher end of potentially winning. Like I'll give it like maybe like a 75-25 kind of like usually Gogeta will win based on the numbers approximations. But there's like a good 25% of the time where Kappa like actually is like strong or stronger. But I think the big thing from all this is kind of just the fact that it's kind of crazy how so many people will be like, damn, GT has literally nothing on Super. And to a degree, they're not wrong because it's not like Gogeta Super Saiyan 4 can take on like Super Saiyan God at all. But he can actually take on like way more than you would think at the same time. He can like actually like he would have been like a great asset to the Tournament of Power, kind of. Like he would have been like out of the 10, like he would have been better than like definitely better than Roshi, Krillin, and Ten Shenhan. Like he would definitely been better than those three. Probably better than Piccolo, to be honest. Like yeah, Vegeta, Goku, 17, Frieza, and Gohan are all definitely better. But then who were the other two on the team? Piccolo and 18? Definitely better than 18 as well. Like 18 did not like get like a significant power boost at all, really. Like she's just been kind of like chilling. Maybe a little stronger, sure, but like not anything notable. She would never have a reason to. And while Piccolo is definitely decently strong for the Tournament of Power, he's definitely not on par with the top five on the team. Or the it's top five. Yeah, the top five of the team. Like being 17, Frieza, freaking Gohan, and then Goku and Vegeta. Like the gap between Piccolo to Gohan, assuming Gohan's the weakest of the five, is a big gap. And I think Gogeta can easily be like slotted into that gap to actually be like reasonable to actually do something in there. So yeah, that's about everything I have to say about that. Dummies on both ends, I think, are like, oh, it skews so much more in one direction or the other. When in reality, the Venn diagram of power scaling is for them in terms of just like approximation for my own opinion and observations as a casual fan. I'll say they're not that far off. I say the circles line up decently to where the parts of the circles that aren't uh that are on the outside of the crossover are pretty small. Like I think they're actually very much like close. And I kind of like that actually. I kind of like that like oh GT is not like infinitely weaker than Super. Just like just a lot weaker. Just like a whole crushing amounts weaker. Like I guess if you compare it like now to like the Super manga, yeah, it's infinitely weaker because of Ultra Instinct, uh, with how much mastery that Goku has of it in the manga, as well as Beast Form Gohan, as well as Ultra Ego Vegeta and Black Frieza and Beerus and the Destroyers and the Angels and stuff. Like the higher echelon, yeah, it's infinitely weaker. But like in terms of like fighters that you actually see in the show for Super, like in the Tournament of Power, even like out of like the 80 contestants, I would say Gogeta's beating half of them at least. And that's like that's a good place to be in, being able to beat half of them. That's a real good spot to be in terms of a fighter. Like I would not be that upset outside of the fact that the fusion only lasts for 10 minutes because I'm pretty sure the power or the time limit was much smaller because of how much stronger they got apparently. So that's a thing, but whatever. Yeah. So that's all I gotta say about that. Don't kill me in the comments because of my opinions, please. You you can tell me if there's stuff that I did not consider at all, like actual things that like are like real and not like oh something like oh Kid Boo's actually the strongest of the Boos. Then I'm gonna like be like okay shut up. That's not feasible. Like the show like you can't show that Super Saiyan 3 could have beat Kid. It was like close to being Kid Buu, but then Goku runs out of strength and then has to use Spirit Bomb to finish it. You can't show that and then tell me that, oh, he's actually stronger than Wuhan. I'm gonna freak the heck out. But anyways, this was Tack. Don't forget to check me out on the Twitch, and I'll see you next time. Toodle. Bip-bip-bop.